All right. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to today's spooky special edition of Talent Transformed. I'm John Bauer, head of product marketing here at Rival, and today I'm joined by our resident expert in all things integrations and APIs, as well as my fellow cow person, Adrian Radicke. Adrian, thanks for joining.
Howdy, John. Happy Halloween, everyone. I'm super excited to share some of the insights to the HR tech community.
Amazing. Now, Adrian, you are the perfect person to join today because I want to talk through something that is truly scary, and that is the HR Frankenstack. So what is the HR Frankenstack? Just to kind of set it up, it's the sort of ghoulish result that you get when you're patching together various disconnected tools. And the ones that kind of don't work in tandem, they're scaring away efficiency and ushering in frustration for HR, managers, and employees all alike. So I'm already quaking in my boots just thinking about it. So let's dive in here and unpack what this looks like in practice and how to fight it. So Adrian, can you share with us just some of your experiences with building out tech stacks that actually work in your experience with integrations?
Yeah, definitely. In my past, I've primarily worked with a lot of background screening providers. So my role has been really to help integrate two different tools. So you have your HR tools and then background where you need to run all of your verifications for anybody that you're hiring. And what that looks like can look different in different verticals and they have different needs. So in the past, I've worked with several different clients and HR systems to integrate in background screening providers within different points of the employee life cycle. I've worked with some big platforms with integrations like Workday, Bullhorn, Greenhouse, and many others. Every client has, kind of different needs and processes that they have to have met. So it's really important that we don't just have plug and play connections. They're really designed to help support real workflows, recruiting, onboarding, and compliance across those many different verticals. They need to be very flexible and easy to implement.
Sure. Yeah, the easy to implement obviously being a huge piece of that, but we know that not all integrations are created equally, right? So there's some vendors that kind of tout this bidirectional real-time data flow from all these different sources, but then in reality, the sync's either not that instant or not that seamless. Can you kind of talk through different kinds of integrations between HR tech and what the ideal state sort of looks like?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen all different kinds of integration so far in my career. We have one kind of integration that is definitely more popular in some of like the older stacks. That's a flat file. So really, it's just dropping a bunch of data, and usually like once a day, maybe twice a day. Where in a lot of HR situations, that just isn't ideal. The data is already too old or kind of stale. The other integrations that I've seen are one ways. So you just send all of, like, let's say Canada data to one system, but there's no syncing back, which really kind of gives you lack of visibility across the board of what you're looking at for the employee. What you mentioned with real time kind of bidirectional flows, there's bidirectional APIs. I would say this is leaning more towards the ideal state. That is where the two different platforms are communicating together. That doesn't necessarily mean instantly, but it can. And then with event-driven integrations, that's kind of like your webhooks. So you can see when like an event actually happens. The employee opens up their portal and you see that they've started kind of their onboarding course. And so really the combination of bidirectional and event-driven is really what you're looking for in today's integration space.
Sure. Yeah, and that makes sense because I would imagine with some of the other sort of forms of this that you touched on, like basically just data drops or that one directional piece, I'd imagine that when the data can't flow so freely in both directions like that, that it creates headaches for the HR teams or the managers or really anybody that's interacting with it that needs that data in both places. That's kind of an assumption? Is that correct? Or
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're having two different systems that like weren't built to work together, logging into two different places to track down that data can be a huge pain.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many of us have worked in places where we have to log into one thing to put something somewhere and then reference it somewhere else, and there's links and all that, and it gets messed up. So, all of that being said, what is the fix? How does one go about sort of defeating the Frankenstack?
Yeah, definitely. I think that if you're really looking at a lot of the pain points overall, it is the fragmented data, like we talked about. Companies try to fix this with manual workarounds. So, like, again, downloading, copying, putting things together. This can be really frustrating for the internal teams. Like, the IT team is always in charge of putting on these big projects. And it just kind of creates this, like, very clunky experience. The fix is really to create a just again event based bidirectional integration between all the systems, so you can really have all the connected data living in all systems, but it's all correct. You don't have to be going back and forth to look at where you're going, what's needed. You're not missing things. Everything is real time. So that's really like what everything should be looking for. Easy, obviously, for those IT teams would be removing any lengthy onboarding process to getting these integrations set up. So, really, out of the box, flexible integrations is what's really needed to kind of improve efficiency, automation, and better experience overall for employees.
Yeah, absolutely. All the time savings. I mean, implementing an integration like that can take, I would imagine, tons of time, but then being able to cut back on that is helpful to all involved. Um, this is super, super insightful information, Adrian. Before we wrap it up, any final words of wisdom that you would leave with our audience when it comes to the importance of these integrations and having them be seamless and efficient and out of the box, like you were saying, and having the tech stack connected?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I know everybody is kind of leading to the holidays and doing their planning for 2026 as it's soon upon us. It's a good time to really be looking at your tech stack and seeing the different pain points that you've experienced this year and where you can really do improvements in efficiency. Integrations are the necessary evil that we will all have. We will have these big tech stacks, but it's how easily that you can integrate and make sure that all of your tech stack is kind of connected. So that's really where Rival can come in. You don't have to rip and replace your old tech stacks. It can come in as just that kind of in between for all of it, where your data can flow easily. You're able to track everything. There's great visibility. There's less pain points. You don't have to do all of this ripping or replacing of your previous tech stack, which is super important. And our team is excellent at doing a very supportive implementation process as well. So
Nice.
quick, easy, and painless.
That's what we like to hear. Adrian, thank you so much for joining today. I really, really appreciate your insights, your experience. And to our audience, I hope that you found today's discussion valuable and that you'll be able to scare out some of those gaps in your own tool set. We do have a ton of great resources on this topic, so be sure to head to rival-hr.com to check out our resource center for more. Thanks again for joining. Happy Halloween, and we will see you next time.
Happy Halloween. Thank you.